It's me, your buddy Dave, from thedarkstuff.com and the Dark Stuff channel here on YouTube. Thanks a lot for checking out my latest video. So, this week I was able to see one of my favorite bands of all time, Cheap Trick. I've been loving these guys since I was 12 years old, and I just turned 30 last week. Cheap Trick, okay, one of my favorite bands. Here's my, whoa, I don't want this to fall over, but here's my records and CDs. That's not all of them, but that's a good chunk of them, okay? So, like I said, I've been listening to Cheap Trick since I was 12 years old. Been seeing them in concert since the late 80s, early 90s, though I admit it has been a very long time since I've seen them. So before we get going, I want to point out that a couple years ago, I did a great Cheap Trick video with a friend of mine named Chris, who we did a deep dive into the Cheap Trick records from the 80s, from All Shook Down, All Shook Up to Lap of Luxury, and I'm going to link to that below, and there'll probably be a tag up here, just FYI. Go check that out when you're done here. So I caught Cheap Trick on Tuesday, October the 3rd, here in 2023 at the Orpheum Theater in Omaha. Orpheum Theater is a classic, very old theater built, I don't know, 1920s or 30s. It's a beautiful room. I've seen some seriously classic shows there. My favorite would probably be I saw the Pixies reunion in 2004 there. I know I saw a Bright Eyes and Spoon show there once where I got to be up in the side box, like the close box. It was awesome. It was like an amazing experience. I've seen a million other bands there. I'm drawing a blank on it right away. But it had been since probably the end of 2019, just before COVID happened, when I saw Wilco at the Orpheum Theater. So it's been a couple years since I'd been there. Like I said, I've been listening to Cheap Trick for a really long time, but I did get to a point kind of where I wasn't sure I was going to go anymore. And that's when their original drummer, Bun E retired. I think it's been like about 10 years at this point. And he was replaced by Rick Nielsen's son, Dax. And this was my first time seeing the band without Bun, okay? Let me just set the record straight here. Dax Nielsen was awesome. He's a great drummer, okay? There is a bit of a different feel with Bun. I think Dax is more of a precision drummer. Maybe on a technical level, he might have a higher skill level, but Bun has that feel, and all those old classic Cheap Trick records have that feel. So it was noticeable, but not incredibly noticeable. Cheap Trick is also the reason why I got into really old school rock and roll, okay, because they have a famous cover of Ain't That a Shame from Fats Domino. They did it in 1980, I think is when it came out, or 79 or so. Amazing. I always have loved it. And that made me get into Fats Domino, and then I went back and I got into, like, you know, Chuck Berry and Little Richard and Elvis and Buddy Holly and, you know, all Jerry Lee Lewis and all of the classic rockers. So I would say Cheap Trick is responsible for my getting into all of that classic stuff when I was a kid. I've been on the record a million times saying that I think Robin Zander of Cheap Trick has the greatest voice in the history of rock. Okay, you can dispute that, and you can name who you think is better, but you're never going to convince me that that person is better than Robin Zander. His voice is flawless, and even on the worst Cheap Trick records like The Doctor or whatever, which isn't even that bad. But anyways, point is, the problem is never Robin Zander. His voice is always perfect. Even on his solo albums, which were kind of mediocre, his voice sounds awesome. And one thing you could always count on at a Cheap Trick concert was that Robin's voice was always going to be on. Trick are like the ultimate road dogs. They tour all the time. So sometimes they headline and sometimes they open for other bands, and I have always tried to avoid seeing them as an opener because seeing them do 45 minutes, that's not enough Cheap Trick. I mean, even seeing them do 75 or whatever that they did at this show, or 80 or whatever, that wasn't enough. I could think of 10 songs right off the top of my head that they didn't play that I wish they would have played, but you can only go for so long. I mean, you can't do a 5-hour set. This isn't the Grateful Dead. So I'll put the set list up on the screen. It was pretty inclusive. It had stuff going all the way back to the first album, something from their most current studio record. They played Boys and Girls and Rock and Roll off their most current record. The real highlight for me, in addition to Ain't That a Shame, which is a pretty standard one for them to play, was She's Tight off the One on One album. Spoiler, in my Cheap Trick of the 80s video that I referenced, I did say that One on One was my favorite album of the 80s, and it may even be my favorite album of all of Cheap Trick. I'm not quite prepared to say that just yet, but the album is stellar. And they played She's Tight, which was incredible because that's one of their best singles, and I feel like it's kind of been overlooked. You know, they don't, the last couple of times I saw them, they didn't play it. Now, they always play The Flame because that was a monster hit for them, but if they're going to play a ballad, I really wish they would do If You Want My Love on the same album as this. Do you understand? I would have probably left my seat, which I was in the orchestra section on the floor, and I was like towards the back, probably about 75% of the way back. I'd have probably run to the stage and maybe even done something crazy if they had done that song. I'm just saying it might have happened. I don't know. So the show was pretty great. I do want to point out a little something. So, you know, in this day and age, there are a lot of really older bands who have been accused, I would say credibly accused, of playing to tape, either partially or entirely. And this isn't me bagging on bands, because some of my favorite bands have been accused of this, including Kiss and Motley Crue and stuff, have been accused of not in being 100% live. Now, I'm going to go on record here right now and saying there is no excuse for a live band playing to tape. On any level. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you want to present. If you don't feel that you can get it across to a live audience, then come up with a new arrangement or play something different. Because frankly, I don't pay for tickets to see someone mimic to a fucking record. And I know that's not exactly the same if a drummer, you know, plays to something in their headset or backup vocals are put on tape. I don't want to hear it. Cheap Trick does not do that. To their credit, they are an amazing live band, and they don't do any of that crap. However, Robin Zander's son, Robin Taylor Zander, who I will just refer to as Robin Jr., is on stage the entire time. He plays second guitar, and he doubles Robin's vocals the entire show. Now, They're not doing, there's not a secret, they're not hiding it, there's not somebody off to the side doing it. He's right there on stage, but he sings the same as Robin the entire show, okay? Which is done generally to fill out the vocal sound. Now, it's better to have a live person doing it than to do it on tape, but I was a little kind of thrown by that. I was sort of surprised, and I thought, you know, Robin's voice is the key ingredient in Cheap Trick, and if it's starting to go a little bit, I'm a little concerned. I don't know that it was. I'm just saying. Robin Jr. has filled in at times. I know there were Tom Peterson had a health scare, and he came in and played bass in place of Tom. Another couple of shows where Rick Nielsen had some health issues. Robin Jr. came in and played the guitar for him. I would say that if I had showed up at a Cheap Trick concert and Robin Zander or Rick Nielsen weren't there, I'd kind of feel cheated. I don't think I would feel like it was a Cheap Trick show, honestly. I mean, Bun has been gone for a long time, and I've adjusted to that now. And Tom did leave the band for a spell in the 80s, and he was replaced, and then he came back. So I guess the idea of Tom not being there is baked in. But Rick or Robin, they have to be there. They are Cheap Trick, and if those two aren't there, no dice. You know, I almost wasn't going to go to this show, and a good friend of mine is in town, because he had an ailing parent and wanted to visit with them, and so I thought, you know what, I'll get some Cheap Trick tickets and maybe take his mind off of the situation. And unfortunately, that parent passed the afternoon of the show, so I didn't get to take my friend's mind off the show. That's the one little sad note to it, but I tried not to let it put a damper on the show. I wanted to just go into it and just have a good time, and I feel like I succeeded in that regard. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll play another clip or something, and then I want you guys to check out my Cheap Trick in the 80s video. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.